look last few days? I don't know how much of the scrimmage you were in or were watching, but in your mind, what's Wiggins looking like these days?
He looked good. He, for the most part, played most of the action that we had. Just didn't really look like he lost a step. I know it's just a scrimmage and getting back into the pace of live basketball, but he looked pretty spry, fresh legs, and hopefully that bodes well for his return this weekend and figuring out how many minutes he'll play and all that type of stuff. But he looked great.
Steph, how much do you anticipate pace and transition factoring to the series?
I mean, a lot. They like to get up and down, so do we. I'm sure the playoff atmosphere it'll be pretty chaotic at first, just feeling each other out, and then you'll settle into whatever pace it does, present itself to be. And all it takes for us is just a little bit of focus on, again, taking care of the basketball and not feeding it into their transition offense, because they have a lot of weapons and they play with a lot of speed, and obviously D-Fox downhill is a problem. So kind of want to give yourself the best chance by having good offensive possessions. We want to play as fast as we normally do, but we want to make sure we take care of the ball so that we can have our defense set as much as possible and do what we do.
Steph, how important is it to get game one in a series, especially when you start on the road, to set the tone and let them know you guys are there?
It's always helpful, especially when you're the lower seed, start on the road, to make your presence felt. Everybody says that try to steal game one type vibe. Like we just want to give ourselves a good opportunity to get off to a good start in that game. First quarter, first 12 minutes are so important to establish yourself. We obviously have to win one up there to win the series. So we'd like it to be game one, and you want to just have another level of focus and intention about everything that we're doing on both ends of the floor. To give ourselves the best shot to do that. So we know it's going to be tough. They've been a great team all year. They've had a great season. And, Mike B knows us well. We know him well. So the adjustments and all that stuff will be interesting throughout the series. But I want to get off to a good start.
Steph, Kevon said that a lot of people don't know what he does for a team behind the scenes. Whether we go back months ago when he kind of helped keep the group together, the two of you, to playing all 82. I mean, we see that part, but he has to communicate with every guy on the team. And how have you seen him evolve to be able to be that kind of, I don't know if peacemaker is the word, but just steadying force when necessary?
I think Coach called him the moral compass of the team earlier this year, which is pretty accurate in the sense of he's like a true veteran, but closer in age to some of the younger guys, and it's kind of seen all different types of roles on our team, from his early in his career back and forth to G League, to playing spot minutes, playing in the finals, to dealing with some injuries, to now being Iron Man Loon, playing 2 seasons in a row, all 82, and leading the league in offensive rebounds, and what he did for us in the playoffs last year. So, you name the list of contributions he has, but he has an amazing perspective on all those different kind of parts to our team and organization, and can communicate pretty well to everybody in the locker room, and his voice, it matters when he speaks up. And he just brings great energy, pretty much every day. Even game days, making sure everybody's locked in, even pregame, before we even take court for 2-line layups, just making sure everybody's excited to go play. He does it in a very unique way. So all of it matters, contributions on the court, off the court, and and he's as important to the fabric of our or team culture as anybody.
Steph, you've seen so many of these playoff matchups. Do you go in anticipating what a team might do, or do you kind of see what they do and then adjust as they go? And how fun is the strategy of how teams are going to guard you?
You have to assume that they're going to stay true to their DNA that's made them successful. That's what we do going into a playoff series, and then those adjustments happen based on how each game kind of unfolds, even in-game adjustments based on certain momentum waves and all that. So, there's an idea that you are who you are, and you try to be the best version of that going into a series to get off to a good start. And I hope you have the IQ and the ability to make adjustments that are necessary. And we love the playoff atmosphere of that. But you don't really try to outsmart yourself going into the series. Just be prepared, be knowledgeable about what they do well, what our game plan is on both ends of the floor, and just execute it. Because there's an element of, you're not going to play your A+ game every night, but you want to get as close to that as possible, and then the adjustments can hopefully help you get over the edge.
Do you ever get surprised anymore, or was like maybe Game 3 of the finals was the last time? 2019.
Oh, the boxing one?
You seemed surprised after that one.
I probably wouldn't be surprised if Mike B does it. We did it a lot when he was running the defensive show here. So there's nothing to be surprised about. It's just a matter of we hadn't had any experience with that up until that point, so you're trying to figure it out. But all that's in the memory bank to go back to on in-game adjustments and being able to respond with whatever the defense is throwing at you.
I think you single-handedly brought back the word janky in that occasion.
I did.
Yeah. What do you think about the way the officiating changes in the postseason, and do you like those differences?
Yeah, as long as they're consistent. We can play in any style or the way any game is called, as long as it's consistent on both sides, and we can make those adjustments pretty well. So we're never really worried about that. And the biggest thing is, in the regular season, it's a lot easier to get consumed by the refereeing because it's changing from game to game and the style of play is changing. So, from night to night based on playing different teams, I think it's less. It's frustrating when it doesn't go your way, but it's less of an issue in the terms of consuming your energy, because it's more about, again, executing and figuring out those momentum swings and trying to get ahead of that so that you can always be in control of what's happening on the floor. So I think that's kind of my perspective. You just hope that everything's consistent, whether it's physical, whether it's ticky-tack, whatever it is, so that we can kind of settle into that and just play basketball.
Steph, beyond the strategic stuff that Marcus asked about, how is the postseason different? You've been through this so many times, but how does it feel different to you going into a postseason game, and how does the game feel different? And along those lines, last year when you got back for the first time in a couple of years, how eager were you to get back in that realm?
Last year was different. I was just trying to get back healthy, and it all happened at the same time. It's kind of what Wiggs is going to do now with your first game back is the playoffs, so you're trying to adjust to both. But playoff basketball it's physical, it's emotional, it's the craziest adrenaline rush. There is just a different energy, even on your preparation practice. Going up against a scout team that is trying to act like the other team, and you're trying to game plan for what our strategy is and go through those reps. And from game to game, there's a lot to think about based on what you could do better, what you could try to do differently. Responding to a win or a loss, the emotional roller coaster of that. So in one aspect, it is easier because you're just focused on one team and one team at a time, and you know everything about them. So there's a comfort level that comes with that. Then it's just about, can you execute? Can you go, do what you're supposed to do? And I think that's the fun in the experience, the competition within that.
And a semi-related follow-up, your numbers against Sacramento this year were very good. Your scoring average was up, but also your shooting percentages were significantly up. I think 57% from the field and 50% on threes. Given that, do you expect the Kings to try something different?
I don't. Even if my numbers weren't like that, I would assume that would be the case. Yeah, absolutely.
Steph, in 2009, you were tweeting out, "We will figure this out. It's the last thing we do, we'll figure it out." And now you're on the precipice of the playoffs and a chance at a 5th championship here. Have you taken any time over the last couple of days to reflect on what's to come and the journey that's gotten you here?
Yeah, I mean, that started in training camp when you're coming off a championship and lacing them back up. Like, you're celebrating what you accomplished, but every time you step foot on the floor in practice and get ready for the games and everything that we've been through this year, it's all about the goal at the end of the year of having an opportunity to go chase another one. So that's always kind of the through line, but the way you get there is the way I've approached it every single time, is just stay in the moment and enjoy what's right in front of you. And that's the anticipation for game 1 right now. Can't fast forward to the end of the race. I think, that's part of human nature. And when you have, experiences of getting, to the mountaintop and finishing the job, like, you understand how hard it is to do that, and the amount of effort mentally and physically it takes to go through an 82-game season and 4 rounds of a playoffs. So the only way you can really repeat that is to stay right here. So pretty comfortable just locking in on game 1. It sounds boring and cliche, but it really is how we accomplish greatness, because otherwise you'll kind of cheapen the journey or cut corners, take things for granted, knowing that it's extremely hard to do what we've done and what we're going to try to do going forward.
Steph, I think from the outside we kind of expected Gary's return to be pretty seamless. What have you thought about his return in these 7 games? And has there been anything that has surprised you as far as his play?
The only thing that surprised me is just how seamless it is when he's out there, just to be in the right spot at the right time. He's going to hawk the ball on defense and make plays. But offensively, he just feels very comfortable with what he's asked to do, where he's asked to be, how he plays within our system. So, yes, I'm glad he's healthy, feeling great, and feeling stronger each game. But you don't have to tell him much. He just goes out and does what he's supposed to do.
And then you obviously played with him. He was a coach here last year. What's maybe your favorite Leandro Barbosa memory?
All the videos we used to do on the plane, singing that inappropriate song.
You spent that time telling us that you want to stay in the moment. I totally realize that, but I will ask you maybe to move aside a little bit on that. But we know Draymond's contractual situation. We know Bob Myers' contractual situation. We know at some point this is going to end. Do you, and Steve a couple weeks ago said this is not the last dance. There's a good chance that this continues. In your mind, do you let yourself ever like this could be the last time, or are you confident that there's a strong chance that this is not the last time that this is happening?
That it's not the last time, but it doesn't really matter right now. We understand the implications. I think Draymond said the other day, we're measured by how we play in the playoffs. So just the fact that we got through 82 and was 6 and all that, it was an emotional roller coaster all year. But the implications on how our season finishes, we understand, kind of dictates a lot of the conversation around us, and it always has. And we've just had tremendous success, so we've let our play speak for what should happen around here. So that's the same way you approach this season and this playoff run, because this business is what it is, and it's a lot that's thrown at you emotionally of what could be or what might happen or whatever all the hypotheticals. But when we win, everybody gets rewarded, and that's what our goal is. So trying to make that happen.
With the Kings being newer to the postseason, although familiar faces with Brown and HB, is there a level from the opponent side that you see them as, knowing that they're a high-scoring offense like your team, that can take this up a notch for the postseason?
I think there should be confidence and excitement for them because they're doing something that hasn't been done in their franchise in a long time, and they've invested a lot into that journey. But we all know playoffs are different, and it's just, again, you just got to win 4 games and win them however you can. And we're excited about the opportunity we have in front of us, and got to expect that they're going to come out playing extremely well because they've shown that they're a good team all season, and we want to be ready for that challenge.
Yeah, non-basketball question to finish off, but Steph, I recently saw you talking with Mariah Stackhouse from the LPGA before the Masters, and you two were talking about underrated golf season 2 coming up with KPMG. Just what are you most excited about for this year's tour, and what can the athletes expect?
Yeah, KPMG is the title sponsor of the second season of Underrated Golf Tour, and taking some very deserving kids that'll be tour members around the country to 4 different courses, PGA caliber courses, LPGA caliber courses, and giving them a first-class experience to showcase their skills and their talents, and then they all come here to the Bay in August for the championship stop. Mariah has been, she will be and has continued to be an amazing ambassador for the game of golf, but also now the Underrated Tour, and being able to connect with these young boys and girls, young men and women who she's kind of walked the walk that they're on and been blessed by the game, but wants to give back to it. So it's amazing that she believes in what we're doing on the tour, and having KPMG backing us up and doing some amazing things, by creating this experience for these kids. It's going to be awesome. So really excited about the fact that we're only in season 2 and we have some amazing momentum behind what we're doing.